And good afternoon, Muskegon. Welcome to Touring Into for this August 26, 2022. It is 2:01. Thank God for this day. Let me tell you why. It is my 27th anniversary. I'll talk about that at the end of the show. This is your show for news, information, and more. And if you are watching it, thank you. You'll be able to ask questions on Facebook, on WVS 103.7 The Beat or M106. Also, if you're listening by radio and would like to view this later, these programs loop over and over. In bottom of the hour, we'll show you a way that you can get an app to not only see these shows over and over, but to get other radio stations that are just like this or maybe a little different. Um, Jobs report came out again today. More jobs created. Okay. It's just as simple as that. Number two, we haven't mentioned it in a while, but COVID is still out there. And I know more people that have caught it lately. So be careful, okay? Just be careful. More people are catching it in small venues like weddings and all that kind of stuff. So be careful. With that said, also, um, my co-host is taking the day off, a well-deserved. Well, he ain't taking the day off. He's doing pastoral stuff. So my brother Burns, the second, take that day off and enjoy it. Now, my guest today and I go way back, and we're going to talk about that when he comes into the show. He is currently serving as the vice mayor of the city of Muskegon and is a very good friend of mine. Put your hands together for the vice mayor, Willie German Jr. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how you doing, Greg? Good to see
I'm
you, man.
great to see you, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, for a young man that just turned 60, man, I can't complain.
You don't look any bit of 60. I look
Hey,
a
that's the
bit
grace
of
of
80.
God. That has nothing to do with me. That's the grace of God. But
Oh,
thank you. I
amen.
appreciate that.
And we're going the tambourine gonna start. We're gonna start dancing around this place.
That'll work.
All right, buddy. You now serve as the vice mayor. But I don't want to start there right now. I want to start. How'd you get into politics? I know, but let people know that. And hold on, let me go to the board.
Hmm.
Michael Anthony Smith from Houston, Texas. Happy Andy. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We'll be talking more about that soon. All right. Let's talk a little bit about yourself and then we'll talk about how you got in politics.
All right. Yeah, Greg. Well, first of all, I'd like to say happy 27th anniversary to you, man.
Appreciate you.
I know your wife. You guys have been together for a long time, man. And you know, I know last time I've known you raised a beautiful daughter, man. So good parenting and congratulations. I wish you all, the best and many more.
Thank you.
I got into politics, Greg, right after high school. One of the first people that I met was Mr. James Water,
Hmm.
Attorney James Water, I should say. And he had
Great.
an office up in the Hackley Building Bank, I believe,
Mhm.
downtown. That's where I got a chance to go up and talk with him. And we talked about community services and doing things, getting into public service and stuff like that. And from there, I kind of had this vision and kind of getting into politics and stuff like that. So I reached out to some different people and met Mrs. Blanche Smith, and she was the mayor at that time, and she was running for another term for mayor.
Hmm.
And I volunteered on her campaign, and that's when I really got my hands wet, my feet and on the ground and start learning more about the process of public service and politics. And then, as you know, me and you talked, and we've known each other, and back from the days. And you said, Willie, hey, I'm thinking about running for state representative for the 92nd district. I'd like for you to be my campaign manager. I'm like, well, Greg, I don't know anything about a campaign manager. You said, that's all right. I'll teach you. So, and you did, man. And I appreciate that, Greg. And, and from there on, man, it's just, been a process of just being active in the community, a love for politics, and finally I decided to get out there in the forefront and run. And here I am now today, man.
And you're doing quite the job too.
I
Not
appreciate it.
only do you serve as the vice mayor, this is your first term as being vice mayor, correct?
Yes, it is. Yep.
How long have you been on the commission, city commission?
Well, I've been on the commission now going on, it's 11 years now, going on my 12th year, which will come up in and next year also. And right when I got on the commission, the Muskegon Democratic Party also reached out to me, and they needed somebody to run for the second congressional district. And at that
Yeah.
time, I'm like, what the heck? I can be a U.S. Representative, and running on the same ticket with President Obama. And I'm like, hey, what do I have to lose? So that was another experience. And at that time, I ran against sitting federal U.S. representative that was Heisinger, and he's still in the seat. So he was a freshman at that time, but I think that was one of his most vulnerable moments at that time. If we would have had enough push from the Democratic Party at that time and support, who knows what could have happened. But they approached me late, but at that time, I learned the logistics of it and the process, and that gave me more experience and the drive to just serve as the city commissioner for the city of Muskegon, now vice mayor.
Okay, so let's just get into what is going on with the city of Muskegon right now. Give us some updates and some highlights and your perspective of what's going on.
Well, okay, a couple of things, Greg. As you know, right now we are in the process of searching for a new city manager. Our recent city manager, Frank Peterson, he resigned and he moved on to other things. And Frank was good, working with the city. He made some changes, his momentum, his energy he brought. Some things that happen along the process, but things happen in politics, and we look at a positive note on where the city wants to go, what the community wants, and at this time we're looking to just kind of keep that momentum going. Also, we just hired a new public safety director, Mr. Tim Causel. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but he is our new police chief. And there were two finalists, and I got a chance to meet with them along with a organization that I'm the president of right now that just got started, and that is the Muskegon County Democratic Party Black Caucus, which is a chartered organization recognized by the Michigan Democratic Party. So we sat in on the process with both finalists and asked questions and looked at their experience, what they can do for the city, for this change, safety, building trust within the communities and stuff like that. So, but the ultimate decision was not up to the city commission or the different organizations. That was up to the interim city manager, Leanne Mikesell, who made that decision. And I talked with her after the decision that she made. And so this is where we're at right now.
He comes highly recommended, and I believe he's from the Ludington area.
Yes. Tim said he's from the Ludington area, and come to find out, he has worked also in Kalamazoo in that
Public
area,
safety.
in that capacity also. So he has some experience. He's been around, and one of the things that we really looked at is how well diverse are you as a chief of police? How can you relate to a very diverse demographics with
Mm-hmm.
different problems and issues and
Right.
concerns. And we talked about the mental health and building trust with the community,
Mm-hmm.
which is so essential. So these things was asked by citizens ourselves, and we're going to see and hold them accountable, to being our public safety director and chief of police for the city of Muskegon.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so let's see. All of a sudden, my screen went nuts here. Okay. So we have a new chief. Um, uh, Today they did a groundbreaking on the 31 project.
Yeah, that was actually yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Yeah. That Harbor 31 project, well, I think it was about $100 and some million project.
120.
Yeah. And you're looking at a huge major project on that um, um, platform down there, that footprint down there, downtown. And it's something that the city had wanted to see develop. I think it's going to bring a lot of tourism. I think it's going to be good for the community. There's public access still to the lake. That was one of the key major concerns of the commission.
Mm-hmm.
And, we just excited. It's going to be a huge tax base as well. So, and we're looking to hopefully continue to
Mm-hmm.
bring more development down there. I got a chance to pray at that time, and along with the other elected officials, the mayor, Ken Johnson, who was there, all the investors and developers, and the support staff for the city of Muskegon. It was a good moment, for the city of Muskegon. And I'd like to say congratulations to everyone, to the developers, and thank the the Harbor 31 project team for bringing their development here in the city of Muskegon.
Now, with that good news, let's go and talk about the housing crisis. You guys have been very active of taking care of blight and putting in homes in places.
Yeah, Greg, and that was the first part of the strategic plan, is getting rid of the blight. As you know, you had a lot of these abandoned houses, just lots that were vacant, and we tackled that task first,
Mm-hmm.
and then we looked at how can we start to fill and build affordable housing. The issue with me was, the AMI that the city was using, which when I say AMI, and you know what this is, that's that area medium income, that's collectively looked at from a city portion, and who can afford these houses. Um, and they did the formula on a county-wide. Well, if you look at the demographics in certain areas, as a commissioner, when I was a commissioner and still over that Ward 2, well, you're looking at an area like Jackson Hill, Angel, McLaughlin, and Nelson, where the income level is much lower in those areas, especially the Jackson Hill and the Angel area. You have
Right.
more homeowners in the Jackson Hill areas, more renters in the Angel area, and it's about even in the McLaughlin area.
Mm-hmm.
And Nelson, as you see the development going on there. But with the infill housing project, that's what it's called. We're building on these empty lots now. But the question is, are these homes affordable? And who would they be affordable to?
I have a big. You have a problem. I have a big problem with that. How that formula was figured out as well. Why isn't it? Why it wasn't figured out citywide? The income wasn't figured out citywide because when you take homes from North Muskegon, Northern Shores, I mean, when you take from other areas, the income base doesn't match what the city of Muskegon is.
Exactly. And that's been my argument all along. And also the mayor, Johnson, he was one that was also looking at that as well. Because I remember that before he became mayor and these conversations, you know, you know, as you just stated, you know, some of the homeowners out there, maybe in North Muskegon, where your income base is somewhat maybe 100 and some thousand plus, almost 200,000. Well, compared to the, you know, poverty rate here over here, you know, you may have somebody just making 25,000. So
Hmm.
um and you looking at a AMI of 80% or whatever. I mean, there's no way that they could afford those houses.
Right.
You know, so, and the concern that I had was the process of gentrification. And as we did the pilot program in the Nelson area when we first started, that was one of the things that I kept talking about. And you know, I think some of the commissioners at that time was not aware, and I'm speaking from the feedback, but at the same time, they probably didn't think gentrification can happen. Anytime you have new development and investment in a neighborhood, a community, gentrification is inevitable. It's going to happen.
Hmm. Hmm. That's very good because I've talked to a lot of people that would love to invest in the homes, but they can't do it because of the price.
Right, right.
And I
And
know that they said that the city has um, projects in areas where they can help people to learn to be in those homes. But still, if your income is such, it is what it is.
that's true, Greg. And not only that, I keep my ear to the street. I go out. I'm in the public at events, and I'm talking to residents and citizens and even homeowners in these communities. And you build 5, 6, 7, 8 brand new homes, and you have a renter who is been renting in, I just say, a home for maybe 10 years, paying about $400 before all of this investment has started. Okay, now the actual landlord can actually go up on his property now, because now he's comparing. Well, they're paying $1,000, $1,200 over here for these apartments or these houses. I can raise my rent and
Right.
really don't even do much to the property.
Hmm.
So I mean, now, so what's going to happen? That renter now is going to have to move because he's on a fixed income or a level where he's not making that much money. And now he's really being priced out, pushed out, and can't afford to live in the neighborhood actually that he probably grew up in, or he or she that grew up in. You know,
Exactly.
so the whole normalcy of that community starts to change. Okay, and another thing that people might not know, you know, when that happened, they did a study on the Jackson Hill area, what they call inclusive zoning, and to see how they could better impact and invest in that Jackson Hill community. And once the study came out, it was done by Northeastern University, and I had been warning and telling the neighborhood associations when I go to these meetings, I said it's just a matter of time before they start to come. And when I say start to come, investors start to come to look at this property in this area and start to invest. But what do you want to see? Will you
Hmm.
be able to live in these communities that you grew up in? Will you be priced out, pushed out? So after that study, I just felt that it was not um, enough done to really have more inclusiveness from the community. And they only talked to a selective few that was kind of handpicked, picked out. So I reached out to the neighborhood association presidents of Jackson Hill, Angel, and McLaughlin. And I called a meeting, and this is what we had talked about for years. So I said, it's just a matter of time before this spill over into the other areas. And I called Northwestern Institution. I talked with a Dr. Landsmark, who was head of the study there, and
Hmm.
had these conversations. So during this process, the community started to get together. We had the meetings. We looked at ways that we can better impact and have conversations. Along with that, they decided to form a coalition called 3N1C. You
Hmm.
know, and I have been saying 3 communities, 1 neighborhood 4 communities, 1 neighborhood for years. But it was good to have the input from the community get together, and they have just done a study, and all this information will come out pretty soon to the community. And now it has more input from the community on what to do with this area. So look for that, Greg.
How, Vice Mayor, how important is it for neighborhood people to get involved in these studies rather than stay home?
Hey, I can't even express how essential that is, Greg, because I mean, it is so important. I mean, because especially, you're a taxpayer, your voice. And I tell people this all the time, as a commissioner, as a vice mayor, I'm elected to do what the people have called me to do, and that's serve you as my base, as my constituents, but also do what's in the best interest of the city and sustain the city and make sure that we are operating at a level where everybody is inclusive and everybody's included. Now, to get out there and have your voice heard, I need your voice. I need your support. I've always been open, call me, email me, let me know if you have any issues or concerns. We can sit down and talk and find a way to come to a conclusion where we can better serve you as a resident, as a citizen, as a taxpayer, and work with the city. So that is so important to have your voice heard.
How One of the things that Mayor Ken Johnson ran on and several other people ran on was transparency. How do you see that going right now?
Well, I think, as one of the things I said a long time ago, Greg, and to get to your question, and is be open and transparent. Mayor Johnson ran on that, and he's looking at, continuing to be transparent. And I just felt that the last administration, that with some of the decisions that was made, not taking anything from no one. I don't know, your reasoning, their reasoning for voting on things the way that they did, but we took an oath, and I would always bring that up. We took an oath to serve the community. We took an oath to do what was right. And transparency and being open and honest with people in this government is part of that process.
Right.
So I think for the most part of it, everybody knows that they have to be held accountable. And transparency is one of those things that comes with serving on this commission.
Okay. All right. I just want to make this an announcement because it just came out. Colorado Senator Kevin Priola has left the Republican Party and switched over to the Democrat Party. That's just right off the bat. Just happened. Okay. So back to Vice Mayor. Okay, so Vice Mayor, what are some of the other things that are happening right now?
Well, right now, as you can see right now, a lot of investments in the parks around here. We look at quality of life, and the amount of dollars that are being spent to upgrade the parks. If you look at Amont Park down on Jackson Hill and Marquette and Wood, there's been some advancement there. Bucoma Park, Reese Park, over there at the Marquette School over there, that park over there. We're beautifying these parks to make it safe, but also give the community a place to go, to have, picnics, to have family reunions, to appreciate and just get out and just have a peace of mind. I think it's so essential to, have a good quality of life, and having a good quality of life is not only just, being able to just go and have a good time in a park, but we want to make the community safe as well. And make sure that crime is down. I can say Chief Lewis, who is our former chief of police, who has resigned. These are some of the conversations that we talked about. I think he did a good job in his tenure as a police chief and public safety director. And as he said, there was a lot of work to do. These are the guys that was the experts in fighting crime and combating crime. And, anytime I needed information about to share with the public, he was definitely more willing and opening to provide me that information to share with the public and stuff like that. So yeah, those things like that, Greg, is some of the things that we're still tackling and looking to do to keep the community safe and keep people, in homes and make affordable housing. But we have a lot of work to do.
Right. Now, before we go on, are you a ward commissioner or at large?
I am a ward commissioner. I oversee Ward 2, which is the Angel area neighborhood, the Jackson Hill, McLaughlin, and the Nelson neighborhood. Yeah, those
now,
four.
I want to talk to you about your ward because us doing political commentary and covering elections and stuff, and we look at the numbers, and every year the numbers in your area are some of the lowest numbers, but some of the highest voters. How do we change that? Because to tell you, is no secret that the West Side controls the city by their votes, and we keep saying that the people in like your ward too, that if they would just come out and vote, that could change. How do we make a change in that?
Yeah, and I've had these conversations, Greg, and I also part of that ward too is part of the downtown area, which is now shifting, and you see the demographics down there too. So when this election time comes up, it's going to be a whole different battle, Now, getting to the question where you said, the Ward 2, it has been some of the low voter turnouts. And this is why I've held community meetings, in the community for years, ever since I've been a commissioner. And to just hold these community meetings to keep people in the public informed that how important it is to come out and give your voice,
right?
Vote, cast your vote. And again, as one elected official, I'm only one vote on that commission.
Right.
To make a huge impact systemically, we have to have the people power to come out and make change and systemic change. And this is what I'm saying to the people out there to get out there, and I'm reaching out to them now. If you're looking out there, it is so important to get out and vote. Some of these off elections years are some of the most critical years that you can cast a vote, because remember, not like the federal elections where they pass a bill or executive order. Those sometimes takes years. When we enforce something at the city level, an ordinance, those usually take an effect right away.
Right.
So much sooner. So, and then you turn around and say, well, why can't I do this? Well, that ordinance has been passed and it went right into effect. So it's not like the state or the federal level. So and that is the crucial part about coming out, because it can affect change right there overnight. So
we're talking to Vice Mayor Willie German. It is almost the bottom of the hour. It's 2:29, 74 degrees and sunny. You're watching the show, listening to the show, Torn in Two. We're going to take a commercial break, and then I'll come back to the Vice Mayor, talk about other projects that's going on and the things that he would like to see. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll see you in a second.
The wait is over. The all-new Umoja Radio Network, home to over 40 black-owned radio stations and podcasts, is here for you. Connect to the world's fastest-growing collection of unapologetically black and proud media, from podcasts to independent black-owned radio stations, and access to the important news and music you need. Umoja Radio is from our culture, by our culture, for our culture. The all-new Umoja Radio is available right now on Google Play and the Apple Store. Join the movement. Be empowered.
The second annual I Am Her Feminine Hygiene Drive, supporting young ladies from Ghana, Africa, in need of everyday essentials and feminine hygiene products, was a great success. Thanks to the generosity of our community and organizations like Period.org, Muskegon Heights Public School Academy, Confident Cosmetics, Muskegon Heights Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Inc., and everyone who made a contribution, hundreds of young ladies and village members received essential items. The community made a lasting impact with more than 10,000 sanitation items donated. If you would like to help, donations can be made year-round by dropping off items in the donation shed at the Mays and Wright Media Center, located at 1877 Peck Street, or making a contribution to paypal.me/1037thebeats. For more information, call 231-727-5007. Thank you for supporting I Am Her Foundation.
And welcome back to 202 for this August 26, 2022. 74 degrees out, sunny. That emoji app, I'm telling you, you want that app, because not only do you get to listen to radio stations like this one, M106, but you can listen to gospel, jazz, other radio stations that reflect the ones that we have. And this video is on that app as well. We are talking to the Vice Mayor of Muskegon, Willie German Jr., my friend and confidant. And okay, before we go on, are there any other things that happening? Because the next where I want to take you is, what would you like to see happen? So are there any other projects going on right now that you'd like to talk about?
Well, one of the projects that they're looking at right now, and is if, well, the community probably knows, and it's nothing set in stone right now, but they're doing what they call a road diet there on Shoreline Drive. Mm-hmm. And I want to say that's probably about a mile from, oh, wow, I'm not exactly sure, but it goes all the way up probably to Southern, I'm not sure. And they're looking to slow down the traffic going through the downtown area. That's something I'm opposed about. I think that Shoreline Drive should remain the way it is. Mm-hmm. If we decide to do something to allow pedestrians to cross that road safe, we need to put a strategic plan in place like that. Right. I know some are in favor, some aren't. So that's one project that I'm opposed of. What changes with it? Aren't they talking about making that two-way road? You know, and some of that stuff is still being worked out, the logistics of it, Greg, and I'm not really sure. But when they present that information back to the city, I could actually share that with the community and stuff like that. But definitely, okay. I know they want to slow that Shoreline Drive traffic down. And me myself, just going through there, sometimes when I have to head out to, Myers or something like that, or I have to get somewhere to a dentist appointment somewhere, I mean, that's the route that I take and a lot of other people take. So, and part of the concerns would be that some resident would feel that the detours that the traffic would end up taking this in the other areas and stuff like that, like Western and Muskegon, and we did that study years ago, and now you notice that the traffic speed limit is like 25 miles per hour. The roads are closed in. So, and the concern, if that happens, will the traffic divert and go back into the communities like that, which could cause major issues and problems? Well, if they would have took the money instead of doing Shoreline Drive in the first place and invested in the cities, we wouldn't have this problem. But that's another conversation. Yep. Okay, so you got that going on. What else? There's also some concerns with me, and I just kind of jump right in there. I'm looking to see more investment in our urban areas. I'm looking to see more investment in entrepreneurship and Black-owned businesses. We have always stressed the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm certified in that area to work with anything that's concerning equity, diversity, and inclusion. And that's something I've been speaking about before the word even became popular, to be honest.
Right.
But at the same time, work with everybody, Greg. But we know that the key access to success, and a lot of times, is the opportunity to have equality. And if you don't have the access to it, we can talk about equality, but if you don't have access to that, it's still going to be an uphill battle. So to see more investments in our communities like the Angel neighborhood area, where we can see development, not in just housing, but, stores, maybe a supermarket. And that's been one of the things I've advocated for years and still fighting for it. And sometimes it get put on the back burner and, we get distracted with other things. But at the same time, I just want, the city of Muskegon know. And if you don't even live in my ward, it doesn't even make a difference. You could call me. We can have a conversation, reach out. But I'm fighting for the interests of the people. And that's what it's always been about. It's never been about me. It's always been about the community and the people.
And that's one thing that I really appreciate about you is because that you are reachable, that it's a tangible out. We can reach Willie German Jr. We can talk to the vice mayor. You will meet with anyone at any time. Talk to people. You go to every special meeting that there is, neighborhood meeting, you're there. How important is that for a politician / vice mayor / someone that cares about the community to be involved in those things?
It's very important, Greg, because, the people count on you, they trust in you. And that's what it's all about, building trust, to be open and honest with them, to see, your face and to be able to, as you said, talk with them. This is somebody that's sitting in an elected seat that I can honestly sit down and talk with. Now, I don't make all of the meetings because sometimes meetings and all that stuff, sometimes conflict. But if you call me, if you say, hey, we need you here, Vice Mayor, hey, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to try to make every effort to get to some of those meetings and some that I have not been to. But let the people know that, hey, trust me, I'm only one person. I'm not omnipresent. I can't be in, all them places at the same time. But hey, if there's a concern, I will stand with you. I'll fight with you, and I try to come to some type of resolution to help you solve your issues and problems and your concerns. And I think I've done that, and the good feedback that I've gotten from people like you as a friend, Greg, the radio stations, different organizations and entities, and they know that they can reach out and they know that they can contact me without a doubt.
Now let's talk about the future. What are some of the things that the vice mayor would like to see? You talked about a great idea that we need things like supermarkets and stuff in certain neighborhoods. What are some other things that you would like to see down the road?
If you look at some of these neighborhoods, Greg, and you remember growing up and Angel School, you look at Frebel School, you look at McLaughlin, you had all these schools around here. Now they're closed. And usually families come to neighborhoods and move in these neighborhoods where they find good schools for their children and stuff like that. So my thing now, I see youth that's growing up, and we go back, we were coaches coaching basketball, and competing against each other. And afterwards, hey, man, good game. But the thing is, we're still fighting that fight, Greg. And I would love to see and want to see more opportunities for our youth. And that's what I'm doing now, to work with these youth. And I've never stopped. And just like you, to see and have opportunities. So when these students decide to go off to college, they can come back and invest in the communities and make an impact, and we as the older people and trailblazers now that and shoulders that we step on some of them, like the Bill Gills and Miss Rillestein, we just gave her appreciation award from the Muskegon County Democratic Black Caucus because she supported us as getting chartered, as well as
deserved.
and well as Mayor Watts in the Heights, he supported us, and where, people support you, you have to, look back and say, hey, I honor that. I respect that, so let us do something and work together, because one man can't do the show.
Right.
It's going to take a collective effort, and then to get these other entities and organizations on one page. And when we look at supporting a candidate, get behind that one qualified candidate and push them and get them elected into office one at a time, instead of competing, dividing the votes. And that's why we can't make that momentum.
Boy, you preaching on that one.
Hey, Greg,
Yeah, I know that too well.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we were younger, we had Angel, Sheldon, McCrae, all these parks that we can go to. We had the leisure service department, and we had activities. Now we find the city of Muskegon is doing a lot of relying on the Boys and Girls Club. Is that fair to do that to them? Do we need the leisure service to come back and form activities for youth? Because like you said, there is hardly nothing out there for our youth to do.
Yeah, it was a much different time at that time, Greg. And as you know, at that time, I remember working with Mr. Lowell Kersey, who was over that department, and volunteering time, coaching these kids. He had some good programs, and a lot of these other areas, started mimicking, the programs that he had. So the parks, now the city is looking at doing a recreation, I guess somewhat resurrecting a recreation department.
Okay.
And we're going to see how that looks. But at the same time, as you know, this ARPA dollars, this American Rescue Plan package that the city has gotten at $20-some million, we've dedicated money and committed money to the Boys and Girls Club. There were $1 million to them. There was $1 million to the museum, and then the Forenthal, and then we put money into our infill housing project, to help with this affordable housing. And I just had a conversation today with the economic developer director, I should say, Mr. Echo, and we just had some conversations about, and I've stressed this in the public meetings, as allocating some of those dollars for grants and programs to different entities who may have organizations, and to start up their organizations and run programs through those organizations. I mean, I'm talking about minority organizations and then others as well. But we want to make sure that everyone has an equal opportunity, but not only just an equal opportunity, access to it. So yeah, if you have a 501c3 program and you're looking to work with, I'll just say, a etiquette program for young girls, that is so essential. We've seen the transformation of how behavior in our community has changed from what it was growing up when we were younger with youth, and that's for boys and girls, and a lot of it starts from parenting. But if you have someone that say, I'm going to take the time to reach out and start a program and work with young girls to make sure that these young girls have the proper behavior, conduct themselves in the proper manner, act like young ladies. And I'm not, pointing fingers at young girls, because we got young guys too. But, it all starts at home. We know that with parenting. But at the same time, there's people out there that specialize in this stuff and do this to help you get to the next level. Because, and Greg, if you see a young man that come up to you and, hey, Mr. Roberts, how you doing? And is there anything that I can do to help you? I'd like to be part of it. You can tell that young man has some morals and value. He's been raised well. But if you come up calling you by your first name and this and that, man, this and all this kind of stuff, and
we got a problem.
Disconnect there, so you can see the difference. And a lot of these guys and young people just need that, that correction. Hey, I'm old enough to be your parent. Address me by Mr. Such and Such.
Right.
And it starts there.
So, you guys are going to look at starting a rec maybe department. Also, there's a need for partnership with the city of Muskegon to have other entities to develop programs for the youth.
Correct, correct. And I want to make sure that those dollars are allocated, and any organizations that is applying for funding for a program to get it started. And I'm not talking about just handing somebody $5,000. No, you need money to get your organization up and running. You may be operating on a skeleton crew, but you look at your 990 forms, that you file every year, because if you have a 501c3, if that's not intact, well, investors, they want to see that, what you've been doing, who's, on the books, who's getting paid. Yeah, all that stuff have to be in order. So these are things that we're looking at, organizations that want to start and partner with, the city, but hopefully the city will be able to just set aside funding to get these organizations up and started, and then they can solicit other grants and stuff like that as well.
I think what you just said is very well put and very well spoken. That we don't need pennies; we need folding money.
Exactly.
We need big money to do to be out in the community to make things happen. We can't have these little small grants.
Exactly.
We need big dollar grants to make big things happen.
Exactly. Because a lot of these organizations and startup organizations have big ideals, but the only thing that's holding them back is the revenue.
The capital.
The capital. Yeah. You have just say maybe overhead expense, you're trying to get literature out, getting marketing, materials, but at the same time travel. I mean, whatever course of operation that you have to do to make sure that your organization is successful is going to cost you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're at the 248. We're talking to Vice Mayor Willie German Jr. Vice Mayor, what are some more things that you would see down the road? And then I'm going to ask you to give out your information so people can contact you.
Okay. Yeah. Again, Greg, we have a lot of work to do, man. And for the most part of it, I think we have a huge housing problem. And that's, what I've been doing when I've gotten with the different neighborhoods in my ward. And you see the disinvestment in the neighborhoods over the years, especially my ward, the Angel, Jackson Hill, McLaughlin area. Now you see some investment with housing, doing this infill housing projects. You go back to the cities, to the 60s with the urban renewal, when they divided the Jackson Hill area from the downtown and waterfront with US 31, and now they're looking to come back and invest. What I want to see is the opportunity for generational wealth. When I talk about generational wealth, I talk about the opportunity to own a home for people who have grew up in this community and still want to stay here.
There you go.
You see what I'm saying? Because with a home, you can leverage that home. You get equity built up. Sometimes you don't have to go to the bank and just take out a loan. You have that money already invested. Then you can pass that down to the next generation.
Right.
And so that type of investment, I want to see more of that. Also, opportunities for our youth. Again, I can't stress that enough. But I think starting that would give a opportunity for economic growth for peoples of color, blacks, and to just be able to sustain and live comfortably, in the city of Muskegon.
And that quality life. Let's go to the board. Exactly. Anthony Miller, afternoon, everyone. Afternoon back at you. I guess I can't stress how important as a youth when we had those projects from like Lowell Kersey and the Leisure Service, where we could go to Sheldon Park or McCrae, and get a meal, learn a sport, learn etiquette. All those things were important to make us who we are today versus empty parks with nothing happening. But we need that quality of life.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And Greg, while I'm thinking about it, I'd be remiss if I didn't add Mr. Roland Jones, who
Oh, yeah.
was over the Jackson Hill area, Smith Ryerson, man. I still talk to Roland today, but as a role model, man, Roland did a lot for the community. Still, have a voice, at the neighborhood association meetings, but he made an impact in my life as a young man.
Me too.
When I was growing up, and a lot of us, so I thank him for his service and time he's dedicated, in the community, and as follows and us coming up in the communities, because if I remember, I know me, I'm not sure if you had left, Greg, but I've seen you around here back in the 80s and 90s. We were still here. We never left, and we've been fighting this battle for a long time.
Let's go to the board. From Houston, Texas, Michael Anthony Smith. Roland was the man, yes, sir, and still is a great guy. Okay, so Mayor, Vice Mayor, how can people get in touch with you, and you get the final word right now?
All right. Hey, you can reach out to me anytime. My email address is willie.german@gmail.com. That's Willie, WILLIE GERMANJR@gmail.com. And that's me at the city of Muskegon. Or you can give me a call, 231-329-5673. And if I don't answer, please leave a voice message. I'll get back with you. But, I'd like to thank you, Greg, for taking the time out and inviting me and allowing me to speak and reach out to the public. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm proud of you. We go way back. And, you're doing your thing, man. And anything that I could do to help out, just give me a call. Hey, I'll be there.
I will do. Let's go back to the board. Anthony Miller, have a blessed day, gentlemen. You too, sir. Vice Mayor Willie German Jr., thank you so much, and have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Greg. You too.
Take care.
All right. Do the same.
All right. That was Vice Mayor Willie German Jr. I want to thank him for being a servant for quite a long time. And when you have great servants like that, support them. When you got people that are transparent, going to meetings and stuff like that, support them. And he is one that you really want to do that. I want to take these last couple minutes to talk about a few issues. Number one, schools are opening, people. Our kids need our schools to be safe, where they can get an education. So get involved, go to school board meetings, do what you have to take, even if it's volunteer at the schools. Do what it takes so that our kids can get an education and not have to look over their shoulder. That's the first thing that I really want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about, I want to go national to Ukraine and Russia. Terrible thing that's going on over there. Don't get me wrong. But $8 billion more is heading over there to the Ukraine-Russia conflict, when those dollars could be spent here with all kinds of issues: education, youth activity, schools, you name it, college for people that can't afford it. The list goes on. Do we have to be Superman to every people or every nation? We can only do so much. We have to ask other countries to step in. But people, we have got to take care of our own and realize that we have a mental health problem. There's a gun problem. I mean, on and on and on. There's a drug problem, for crying out loud, and there's no place for people, or very few places for people to get help. So let's take some of that money and instead of buying bullets and invest it in this country here. Finally, at 2:56, I have to take the time on this 8/26/2022 to say a happy anniversary to my wife, Emily Roberts. They say behind every good man is a great woman. That is an understatement with my wife. For all the things that I'm involved in, for her to be there, having my back all the time, but more so, a lot of the time she takes the lead. She is the true matriarch of our family. Wait a minute, let's go to the board. Anthony Miller, hope you got flowers. Yes, I did. Yeah, she got her flowers yesterday. And yesterday we were able to be at an event where not only was she there, our whole family was there. I'm a blessed man to be in this thing for 27 years, to be with the same wife who I truly love and is my best friend, is a blessing. People, I want to take this opportunity to tell you this. And marriage is supposed to be for a lifetime thing. Don't take it as you can't get along with somebody. It's the eHarmony generation, or the Tinder generation where you're going to swipe right. You know, in marriage, there are good times and there's times when you're in the valley. But here's the thing, to death do you part, you stay together. You know, that's my boo. And my boo, we stick together through thick and thin, as God is our head. To my family, I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of them. Lisa, Savannah, Mercedes, Chloe, Warren, Eric, Flurry, all the grandkids. You know what? It's so easy to love you guys because you guys are just wonderful to us. People, if you are not married and just out there just getting in relationships, slow down. Just don't jump into everything. I was 31 before I was married. I was at the age of 31 before I got married. And I told my wife, you have me, I'm like luggage. I'm not going nowhere. When you find someone good, stay with that person. That's all I can say. And that starts with communication, that starts with trust, that starts with a lot of things, but it's a day-to-day journey. Don't give up on the journey because you might miss a relationship. And 27, and I can only pray for 27 more. Emily Roberts, congratulations, and I love you dearly. That is my time for the day. It is 2:59, 8:26. I got to go celebrate my anniversary. Listen, people, you've been listening, watching, touring the tour. I want to thank my guest again, Vice Mayor Willie German Jr. Look him up. Finally, go sow a seed in somebody's life and give them their flowers today. Take care. God bless. See you next week.